How is everyone doing? We are going to have an amazing class and we're going to jump straight into it, guys, because a lot of people want the content very quickly. People don't like these long introductions, all these details, all these things. So we're going to jump straight into it. We're not going to waste any time. So welcome to your English class. I am David, your favorite teacher. This is the best way to learn English. If you're learning English, this is the best one because I'm going to help you think in English. Right? And if you want to think in English, if you want to create thoughts, you need to consume content the right way. Right? You can't just watch something for 10 seconds and expect to learn it. You need at least 30 minutes of your attention. You need to be able to listen to a professional teacher who knows how to structure it. And so I will give you some ideas, I will give you some expressions, and your job is to follow along. All right, so welcome to everyone who's joining in the chat. Welcome, Carmen. Lil is joining us as well. Welcome. Okay, yes, you're the first one. So if you are watching this, a quick invitation, drop a comment and I will send you the invitation to the WhatsApp group. If you join the WhatsApp group, you'll get exclusive content, weekly challenges, you get a community, people from all around the world, a speaking club, Zoom lessons, and you have direct access to me, meaning you can ask me questions and I'm there. I have 20-something social media accounts. It's hard to keep track of everything. But here, if you join here, then you're pretty much at the top of the list. All right. So we are going to work on this word. This word has everyone tripped up. Everyone is asking questions about this, right? So first of all, let's work on the pronunciation, right? The TH is pronounced the. So your tongue needs to go between your teeth, and it's though, right? So it is, the word is though, and it's a conjunction. What is a conjunction? Well, a conjunction is a word that connects other words, phrases, or clauses in a sentence. So it's pronounced though. So the G and the H are silent, right? And it's a deep, deep, deep O sound, right? So though, there are different ways to use this conjunction. We're going to go through them. All right. So a basic one is to use it to show contrast at the end of a sentence, right? So let's say this lady, right? She said she didn't care. She looked happy though, right? She looked satisfied though. She looked optimistic though, or she looked upset though. Which one of these adjectives fits? Right, so here, she said she didn't care. That's the first sentence. The second one needs to show contrast. It needs to, right. So here, the though is at the end of the sentence, and it's showing a difference. It's showing a difference in the meaning of each sentence. Okay, so okay, so there's a lag. Let me see if in the production. Well, here it says there should only be a 5 to 7 second delay. So what's the delay? Okay. Welcome everyone. Okay, so there's a problem with the software. You had to read. How is it working right now? Is everything working fine? All right. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? All right. So here, what is it, guys? She said she didn't care. She looked happy though, satisfied though, optimistic though, upset though. Right. Which one is it? All right. Fantastic, guys. The correct answer is upset. So she said she didn't care, but she looked upset, or she looked upset though. Right? It means that the two sentences don't match, right? Or the meaning is contradictory. All right. So you can also use though instead of although, right? You use it at the beginning of a sentence. You can say although or though, right? Though they argued a lot, though they argumented a lot, though they argument a lot, or though they argufied a lot. All right, which one of these is correct? They still loved each other. Again, we're showing contrast, right? So they fought. You can also say they fought, but not physically, but with words. And so you can say they fought a lot, but they loved each other. So it shows contrast. It shows contradicting ideas. However, right, you want to use this conjunction right here to show that there is a contrast between these two ideas. Though they argued a lot, they still loved each other. Right. So let's see, guys. All right. Is the sound better? Checking in on everyone here in the chat. Right. How's the sound? How's the video? How's the connection? Right. Maybe try to use this in your own sentence. So try to use it at the end of the sentence, right here, like though. She said she didn't care. She looked upset though. Right. I set everything up correctly. There's still a lag though. Right? I set up the streaming software. There is still a lag though. Right. So normally you set everything up and there's no lag, there are no bugs, right? But in this situation, it's there seems to be a few issues, and I still can't get it to connect to Instagram. I don't know what the problem is, if it's on Instagram side or on Vimeo side, but that is kind of annoying. Yeah, I'll have to check that. That's unfortunate. Okay. That is unfortunate. Let me check my speed. I don't know if it's my, you know. Yeah, I'm also at about 500 upload and download. So 500, more than 500 Mbps. So it's probably with the streaming software, right? Yeah. Well, whatever. The technology is it's never perfect. We I wish it were perfect, but that's how it is. It's sad, but that's the way it is. All right, but thank you for checking, everyone. So let's do that. So you can use though, right? So though they argued a lot, they still loved each other. Though they worked really, really hard, they still weren't able to be successful. Though they had a lot of money, they still weren't able to make the project work. All right, so here you could use though and then still. So that's the combination. Though I worked out a lot, I still wasn't able to lose 10 pounds. Or I still wasn't able to gain muscle mass. Though my internet connection is perfect, there is still a lag. Yes. Good, good, good. Or some lag. You could use some lag as well. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, but I will contact tech support because that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. So, very good. We can also use even though. Even though shows a stronger emphasis. So you can say though, or even though, or although, right? So all three options are correct and they are interchangeable, right? The strongest one is even though. All right, and that's actually the one that I use the most, even though. So even though they broke down, even though they broke up, even though they broke off, they remained friends, right? So the relationship ended, right? But they remained friends, or they said, I'm, I don't think it's, it must be hard. I don't. Some people say they can remain friends after they end a relationship, but I have my doubts. So Lil says, though I made a lot of plans for the summer, I still haven't made. So with still, you want to use the present perfect. I still haven't made any reservations. Or I've still made no reservations. Oh, that sounds weird. I still haven't made any reservations. All right. So that would be the best one. That would be the best way to write it, Lil. All right. So let's see if we can go. I mean, this is a good. Let's see with the whiteboard. We can go to the whiteboard, and I can show you the. So let's go to the whiteboard. This is a great sentence, by the way. Great sentence. So congratulations on that sentence. So, though I made a lot of plans for the summer, okay, the first part is correct. But here, I still haven't made any reservations. Now, why is that? Why is that? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly. I'm going to tell you exactly why you want to build it this way. So, the negative is here. Right. So remember we have a rule in English where we can't have a double negative. So that's the negative. So then you have to put any. I still haven't. And you want to use with still, you want to use the present perfect. Right? Because you're talking about the recent past, you're talking about the general past or a past that is relevant in the present. Right? So, welcome Anastasia, welcome to class. Good to see you here. Okay. Good. Good, good. Alrighty, guys. So, even though they broke up, right? To break up means to end a relationship. Even though they broke up, they remained friends. Right? So it's a stronger emphasis here. Right? Because the two clauses, clause one, they broke up, clause two, they remained friends, they're opposites. Right? They're they're contradictory. There's a contrast between them, right? So they broke up, but they remained friends. So you can also, if you can say but, then you can use even though. All right, we've got a question in the chat. Go ahead, fire away. Fire away means go ahead and ask. What's your question? What is your question? So guys, a quick note. One of the good things about joining the community is that you get to join the WhatsApp group, and that's where I answer questions. Right? I answer questions there, and people join and people participate in class. And so it's really helpful there to jump in, and then you can have a conversation. You can have a conversation with me, you can interact, you can practice using the language. So Anastasia, yes, so we covered this. Do we need to put although or even though at the beginning? Okay, so with this construction, yes, right, we use although, though, at the beginning, but of course you can also use it in the middle, right? So you can use it or you could also you can use though, just though, at the end. So we covered that at the beginning of class. I don't want to repeat it, but you can watch the video. The first 15 minutes, or the first maybe 10 minutes, the first few minutes, it was the introduction. Then I talked about using though at the end. We can use it at the beginning as although, even though, or though. And then we can also use it at the like in the middle of the sentence. Okay. So the next one, right? So you can't put although or even though at the end, right? So even though and although, they can go at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. I'm going to give you some examples, so don't worry. Okay. But we typically, yeah, right. Even though, although go at the beginning or, in the middle. Right? It's because they introduce a dependent clause. That means it's a sentence that depends on another one. Right? So they're followed by more information. Right? So you could say, for example, even though he lied to me, even though my friend lied to me, I forgave him. Right? So my friend, so even though he lied to me, I forgave him. But you can also say, I forgave him even though he lied to me. Right? So that's just an example. It's always good to forgive. Right? So that's one. Or let's say I stayed friends with him. Right? I stayed friends with him, although we had grown apart. Right? So although, you can also put the clause, this although we had grown apart, meaning although we had kind of been away from each other. Although we hadn't stayed in touch, I stayed friends with him. Right. So basically, with though and even though, no, with although and even though, there needs to be a clause, some information that follows it. Right. But you can put at the beginning or at the end. Good. Another good. Okay, so let's check out this. Let's go back to the board because this is where you get to practice. All right, so great sentence here from the chat. He was annoying. We were great friends, though. You see that? That's a great sentence. So there, you could put though here. Right. But it has to be though. It can't be although. Right. Okay, so these are two sentences, and then the second one without the end. She was not friendly. She was great at her job, though. Good. So these two things, there's a little bit of contrast here, right? So there's some contrast. She was not friendly, so that this is a negative. So let's make it red. She was not friendly. It's negative, right? But here, well, let's do it blue. She was great at her job. This is positive. This is why we put though here, because one of them, there's a contrast. One is negative, one is positive. So you put though at the end. All right. Does that help? Okay. Does that help, guys? All right. So the next one we can use as though. It's the same as like or as if. So he acted like nothing happened, has happened, had happened. He acted as though nothing happened, has happened, had happened, or he acted as if nothing happened, nothing has happened, nothing had happened. All right. So, which one is correct? Which tense would you use here? Okay, so there are some issues with the software. Sorry about that, guys. Um, yes. Okay, so choose the correct one. Right. So he acted. Right. He acted. Now think about he acted like 5 minutes ago, but with the verb happen, is it connected to the present? Is it a past before past? Or is it just in the past? So technically, the correct one is the past perfect. He acted as though nothing had happened. Now, you'll hear people saying he acted as though nothing happened. People will say that, right? But technically, he acted as though nothing had happened. Why? Because he acted this way, but something had happened before that. Right, so let's say he said something mean to you, right? So he said something mean at the beginning of the party, and then towards the end of the party, he acted as though nothing had happened at the beginning of the party. So you see, at the end of the party, he acted as though nothing had happened at the beginning of the party. Right? So it's past before past. Right? That's why you have to use the had, right, to show that there was an action before that. All right. So some people are having problems with the stream. Is everybody else, is it only Lil who's having problems, or are other people having problems with the stream? Is everything working out? um, for everyone else. All right, so here are a few more. All right, though they split up last year, they still check on each other, check in each other, check in on each other, or check on in each other from time to time. All right, so split up also, they they broke up or they split up, it's the same thing, last year. Right, so let's say my friend, right, he and his girlfriend, they split up last year. But you start with though, because you're saying, hey, I'm going to give you two opposing ideas. A little bit of contrast, right? Contradictory. Okay. And which one would it be? Though they split up last year, they still check on each other, check in each other, check in on each other, or check on in each other. All right. So the correct answer here is check in on. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, everyone knows what check in, like I'm checking in. You're saying, hey, so let's say you go to a restaurant or to a hotel, you check in, right? You check in for your flight, you check in. But with people, if you call your friend and say, hey, I want to see how you're doing, I want to make sure everything is okay, you check in on them. I'm going to check in on my friends, my brothers and sisters. I check in on my students. I check in on them. I say, hey, how's everything? Are you learning? Are you having any problems? Can I help you? Do you want to practice? Right? Do you want help with some grammar points? I want to check in on you. Good. So, how do you check in on your loved ones? Right? Do you call them? Text them? Visit them? Or let's see. Call them, text them, visit them. What's the best way to check in on your loved ones? Right? So how do you check in on them? What's the best way to check in on them? Right? Also try to use check in on in a sentence. Right. Let's see. Let's check in. So let's check in on everyone and let's check in on people. Yeah. Yes, we're live on YouTube. It's working. Facebook is working. It's not working on Instagram, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on with that, but how often do you check in on your loved ones? How often do you check in on your parents? Right? How often do you, check in on them? Good. So I think he'll come about. I think he'll come around. I think he'll come on eventually, though he's being really stubborn right now. So good. All right. So let's see. Before we go to that slide, let's see what comments are in the chat. I check in on my relatives. I always check in on them. Good. I'm not always in good relations with them, though. Okay. Here's a better better expression. I'm not always on good terms with them. So let's fix it. Let's go to the whiteboard. It's a good sentence. It's understandable. I check in on my relatives. Here I would add something from every now and then. Means sometimes. Sentence number 2. I'm not always on good terms with them, though. And then don't forget about the comma. Okay, so there I would put a comma, and I would change, use that expression. I check in on them by calling them. So let's look at this one. I would say by. It depends where they are at the moment, but usually, comma, I check in on them. So you need the object by calling them. Right. That one makes sense. You check in on them by calling them, or you check in on them by giving them a call. I like that. Okay. Good. They're not there. So what do you mean? They not there. Okay, I see. It depends where they are, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So here, if someone, right, comes about, comes around, comes on, they kind of do what you want them to do, right? So it can mean to change your opinion, right? Yeah. So when you say he will come about, come around, you have to choose the correct one, or come on, it means he'll change his opinion. He'll right. He will say yes. Right. He will agree. Right. You say come about, come around, come on. Though he's being really stubborn right now. So right now he doesn't want to participate, right? He doesn't want to cooperate. He's being stubborn right now. He says, no, 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 no. I don't want to do it. The answer is no. But you can say, I think he'll come around eventually. I think he'll change his mind. I think he'll cooperate eventually. And then you put though he's being really stubborn right now. So in this sentence, there is a contrast, right? There's a contrast. So though shows the contrast. Here, even though we haven't seen each other in years, right? Sometimes this happens with old friends. Even though we haven't seen each other in years, it feels, though no time has passed, as though as no time has passed, as though no time has passed. Right? So you have these old friends, right? They went to school together. But then it always happens. Friends grow apart. Now, if you're in your 20s, you think your friends you'll always spend time with them. You'll spend hours with them for the rest of your life. That normally doesn't happen. Normally, friends grow apart, right? You lose touch, right? You're still friends, right? You're still friends. You'll be friends forever, but maybe you're not in close touch. Maybe you don't spend several hours with your friends every day. I remember some of my good friends, I love them to death. They're amazing, but they've got families now. They're busy, right? I moved away, so I live in Europe now. So my old friends, they're always going to be my friends, right? But they've got families. They've got their lives. I've got my life. It's it's all right. So even though we haven't seen each other in years, it feels as though no time has passed. Here, we don't say as though as. No, that's what everyone put. We're not comparing. We use as, like I'm as fit as I used to be. That means I'm my level of fitness is the same. I'm as fit as I used to be. I'm as fit as you are. So I am as fit as you are. So there we do use two as plus adjective plus as. But with though we use as though. Just one as and then though. It feels as though no time has passed. Here, it feels as if no time has passed. It feels like no time has passed. It feels as though no time has passed. And that's what happens when you reconnect with your old friends. It's so crazy. You you don't see them for 10 years, and then you see them, or you don't see them for 5 years or longer, and it feels as though you last saw them a day a day before or something. It feels as though no time has passed. Okay, good, good. Have you ever had this? Has this ever happened to you? He laughed as though it seemed though he was hiding something. He laughed, though it seemed as though he was hiding something. So this is not a natural sentence. It sounds off, I know, but it's a play on words, right? So I wanted to include both of them in the same sentence. Which one is right, A or B, guys? Right. Which one is right? So choose the one that makes sense. Right. So he laughed. Right. Haha. He laughed. Right. But right. It seemed like he was hiding something. It seemed as if he was hiding something. It seemed as though he was hiding something. So, of course, the right option is B. He laughed, though that shows the contrast. Though in this sentence shows contrast between he laughed and he was hiding something. Those are the two clauses, the two ideas. Though shows that they contradict each other. They're contradictory. Though as though it seemed as if he was hiding something. So of course in this sentence I wouldn't use though and all as though so close to each other. It just sounds weird. There you would say though it seemed as if he was hiding something. So there you can use as if instead of as though. and it sounds better, right? So, a little play on words there. Okay. Though we're not kids anymore, we already joke around. We still joke around. We keep joke around. So, which one is correct? Right. So you're saying, okay, this happens a lot, right? Especially with your childhood friends, right? Because you see them and it's almost like you travel back in time. You, it's so interesting because when I reconnect with old friends, it's almost like I start acting the way I used to act. Right? So I start speaking the way I used to speak, right? Because we lived, we shared some time, in our youth, and when then we grow apart, and then we reconnect, and we start behaving the way we used to. So here is we still, though we're not kids anymore, shows we are not kids, but we joke around as though we are. Okay, we still joke around as though or as if we are. Right, so here we use as though to show as if, and then we use though. We start the sentence with though. Okay, again, it's not a natural sentence. It's just a play on words here, using though and as though in the same sentence just to illustrate this construction. But though we're not kids anymore, right, we still joke around as though we are. Okay, we still joke around as if we are. Good. It's still because, already wouldn't. So we say we keep joking around. You could say we keep joking around, but not with joke, which is the base form of the verb. We use we still joke. All right. So, very good, everyone. Fantastic, fantastic. So, if you like these lessons, and want to learn, want to be part of the community, you get exclusive content, you get lesson recordings, you get invitations to participate in the speaking club, in the Zoom lessons, right? The challenges. This week we had a challenge where people record their voice notes using the present perfect or using specific language. Get to meet people, right? It's supportive. It's, when you're learning, you need other people there, right? It makes it much easier when you're not completely alone. I mean, you can learn by yourself, it's true, but studies have shown that we learn better with others. We learn better when we are in a community, when we share the journey with others. So that's your invitation. If you want to join, or if you know someone who would like to join, it's free to join. Join the community, join the WhatsApp group, where you have a very nice infrastructure to support you on your journey. All right. So, so good. Any questions in the chat? Let's ask everyone in the chat. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Okay, so the browser, so it works. Okay, good. All right, you can vote. Everyone can vote. Right. Did the quality improve? So I know, Common, you had some issues at the beginning of class. Did the quality improve, or was it still pretty choppy? And did it lag a lot. Okay, let me know. Right. Anastasia, the lessons are useful. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm glad that they are useful. I'm glad that you get something out of them. All righty. Okay, guys. So join us in the community, and take care. And let me know if I can help you. If you want classes, if you want to practice your speaking, if you need help, I am here for you. Can we use though, even though, or although interchangeably? Sometimes. Anastasia, good question. You can. At the beginning of the sentence, you can. You can start with though, although, or even though. Right. In the middle of a sentence, you can use them interchangeably. If it's at the end of a sentence, you can only use though. Right. Mm, okay. So that's it. That's it. Okay, guys, great class. Good to see you. Keep learning, keep participating in the activities in the community. Right? Don't forget about the challenge. We have a weekly challenge. Some of you haven't participated, so I want to hear your voice notes. And take care. Have a great evening. Have a great rest of the week. Tomorrow, I'll go live from TikTok. So I will post something in the community. I'll go live from TikTok, and only on TikTok, right? So you gotta have a TikTok to follow that, but it should be pretty cool. I've got like 15,000 followers there, so hopefully we can get a lot of people to join our community. Okay, so take care, everyone, and see you soon. Bye bye.